Have you ever felt just lazy? Or maybe you've worried that it's something more than that. It's a question a lot of us wrestle with, and it can really kick off this cycle of guilt and just feeling confused. So in this explainer, we're going to try to draw a really clear line between just being idle and what could be the clinical condition of depression. The goal here? To swap out that guilt for some real understanding.
Man, does this hit home or what? That feeling of wanting to do absolutely nothing, but then almost immediately that little voice in your head starts nagging you about it. It's an incredibly common feeling, and it's that exact internal tug-of-war we're going to untangle today.
We have this habit of treating a lack of motivation like it's some kind of character flaw. We just slap the label lazy on it. But what if it isn't a flaw at all? What if it's actually a symptom of a genuine health condition? Getting this distinction right is absolutely crucial for how we take care of ourselves, and honestly, how we show up for other people too. Okay, so let's really break this down. Laziness, for the most part, is a choice. It's usually temporary and it's aimed at a specific task, like, choosing to put off doing the dishes. Depression, that's a whole different ballgame. It is not a choice, it's a persistent health condition. And that feeling of not being able to move, it's not about the dishes, it's pervasive. It can literally touch every single part of your life.
Look, if you remember only one thing from our chat today, please let it be this. Depression is not a lack of willpower. It's a really complex medical condition. We're talking brain chemistry, genetics, major life events. You can't just decide to will it away any more than you could will away having the flu. It just doesn't work like that.
So if it's not just a choice, how in the world are you supposed to tell the difference? Well, let's dive into 3 key signs that can help you listen a little more closely to what your mind and your body are trying to tell you.
All right, let's get right into it with the first and very practical sign.
Okay, so the first clue is how you react to simple comforts. Think about it. On a day where you're just feeling lazy, your favorite snack or a long hot bath can often do the trick, right? It recharges you. But with depression, those usual pick-me-ups, they just kind of fall flat. The pleasure isn't really there, and the comfort just can't seem to break through that heavy feeling. Now for the second sign, which is honestly a major hallmark of depression. So the second sign is this deep, profound loss of interest. Clinicians actually have a name for it, anhedonia. And this isn't just about avoiding your responsibilities. This is when you lose interest in your hobbies, in seeing your friends, even in the music you used to love. When things that once brought you joy start to feel like a total chore, that is a huge red flag.
And that brings us right to our third and final sign.
And finally, think about the trigger. Laziness is often a reaction to something specific. You really don't want to do your taxes, or you're avoiding a tough conversation. But the kind of exhaustion that comes with depression, it often feels completely untethered. It's just this general state of being, an inability to engage with anything, not just one thing you don't like.
Just recognizing these signs can honestly change everything. It gives us permission to shift that internal voice away from self-blame and guilt and move it toward a place of real understanding and compassion for ourselves.
So just to quickly recap those key differences, if your usual comforts aren't working, if you've lost interest in pretty much everything, and if that feeling isn't tied to one specific task you're trying to avoid, then you're very likely dealing with something more than just a lazy day. And this brings us back to the core message. You cannot simply snap yourself out of it. This is so important. This isn't a motivation problem. It's a medical one, and it requires real care and support, not just trying to have a stronger will. Acknowledging that truth, that's the first and maybe the most powerful step you can take. So, I want to leave you with this question to think about. If what you're going through isn't some personal failing, but a genuine health challenge, doesn't that completely change how you should talk to yourself about it? Maybe, just maybe, the most productive thing you can do on those really hard days isn't to force yourself into action, but to simply offer yourself a little bit of compassion.